I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Culpy and Chip.
And Oreo.
Still hanging in there.
This is for the big homie Matt. Shout out to the big homie.
Yes.
Much love to you, Playboy. This is the band DEVO. And it's one of Matt's favorite songs. It's Smart Patrol / Mr. DNA. So, for timely topical political commentary, you can hit me up at Middle America Vin and Sori, or...
You want to see our family? Some of the goings on.
Are you finally producing videos?
I put a video out yesterday.
Okay, mashallah tabaraka. Good for you.
Check out my Sori life.
My channel's creeping up on yours, by the way.
Yeah, well, you've been putting in a lot of work to creep up. I've barely done anything.
I know. Must be nice to have that white privilege. Smart Patrol, Mr. DNA, let's go.
Go.
I'm tired of the soup de jour.
He's been with the world.
I wanna win this prophylactic tour. Afraid nobody around here understands my potato. I think I'm only a spot boy looking for a real tomato.
He's been with the world.
And I'm tired of the soup de jour.
He's been with the
I
world.
wanna end this prophylactic tour. Afraid nobody around here comprehends my potato. Guess I'm just a spud boy looking for that real tomato.
Smart Patrol.
Nowhere to go.
Moving robots from under reality.
Come and stuff. We work around the clock.
We shove the balls in the hole. The Smart Patrol.
Nowhere to go.
Moving robots from under reality.
Come and stuff. We work around the clock.
We shove the balls in the hole. Smart Patrol.
Nowhere to go.
Moving robots from under reality.
Come and stuff. We work around the clock.
We shove the balls in the hole.
Shove it.
Smart Patrol. Nowhere to go. Suburban robots from under reality. Come and stop. We work around the clock. We shove the poles in the hole.
What's your favorite line, huh?
Wait a minute, something's wrong. He's a man from the past. Consider do us a favor. A little human sacrifice.
I started to figure out the song halfway through. I was like, oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought that when it first started, but I said, nah, this is
It's
just
the kamikaze
my
man.
train going to one station. It's just the man who's working.
Seems like this is
Then
a.
as it progressed, I said, no.
I think this is a.
I know what the poll is.
Look, Pink Pussycat, Smart Patrol, and then, you know, it ends. I think it just looks like a.
A what?
It's a concept album about something. Duty Now for the Future is the name of the record. So, all right.
Duty now for the future.
Duty, not
Yeah.
duty, you weirdo. What are you laughing at?
Who's... Well, just because this guy... Because you've been on this big kick about, you know, duty first and blah, blah, blah. And, like, in this... The guy is going around spreading his DNA and his genes. Duty first for the future. It's for the future, though.
That's his duty.
It's not because it friggin' feels nice.
We're here to propagate genes.
Yeah, that's what it's about. He's worried about the future. So the man is, what is it, poking his pole in all these places. Because,
Oh my gosh.
Because he's all about duty.
We've got
It's just funny because what are the
poles
chances?
for the holes. You got poles
Yeah.
for the holes, man.
What are the chances that this song and you've been having here, you've been talking about that stuff? So it's just funny.
Yes, I have. I've been talking about duty over rights.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We work around the clock. We shove the poles in the holes. Shove it. Ugh. Common stock. That's all like eugenics language. Like, remember the Margaret
Stock,
Sanger thing?
yeah.
Where she's like the better human stock, so that we
Yeah.
can extirpate those human weeds that ruin our society.
Yeah.
You know, this one is like the other side of that, because what they're saying is we need to propagate more people. She was saying we just need to kill them. We
Right,
just need to
right.
make so that they're never born or whatever. But he's saying like we need to propagate. We need to propagate society. I got to do my duty.
Isn't kamikaze where they kill themselves for?
Yeah, kamikaze is you know, World War II.
Yeah.
You know, those Japanese planes.
Yeah.
They would,
Right.
They would crash into, you know, in Pearl Harbor and sacrifice themselves.
So he's sacrificing himself.
Kamikaze, boom.
I don't believe that. You know, I never will, and I understand.
Well, a sperm is basically a kamikaze, right?
Oh, you think he's talking about a sperm?
Yeah, well, Mr. Kamikaze, Mr. DNA. Well,
Okay.
The sperm carries your DNA code.
Oh.
And in order for the sperm to be successful, well, first of all, they're all 99.999% of them lose.
Yeah.
And then the one that is successful basically has to, you know, crash land in there. He doesn't get to remain a sperm. So, like,
Oh, but he becomes something else.
so it's Mr. Kamikaze. Yeah. There's a lesson there if you're wise, if you have eyes to see and ears to hear. But
I just thought he was.
yeah, I think
I'll sacrifice
I
my
think-
dick to this.
Oh my gosh, you're so vulgar. You're missing the man's genius. I think the hook is talking about a sperm cell. Mr. Kamikaze, Mr. DNA, he's an altruistic pervert.
What's altruistic?
Altruism is like love of humanity, basically, and you just do things out of love and empathy to humanity. So to your point, like the whole theme of the song is, hey, I'm just spreading these genes because I love human beings, you know what I'm saying? But he's a pervert. In the sense of, because it's about, you know,
It's not just about that.
yeah, it's about his perverted, you know,
Right.
you know.
The man's not sacrificing like he makes it sound. So
Here-
then I think the
here to spread some
kamikaze thing is, yeah, not what you're saying it is. I don't think he's talking about the sperm.
What do you mean, Mr. Kamikaze, Mr. DNA?
I think he's making this. I'll sacrifice myself to this.
No, I think he's talking about a sperm. Sperm functions as a kamikaze and it carries DNA with it. This is such an interesting song because there's so many like video game themes. It was 1979.
Oh, was there?
It's 1979.
It reminded me of a video game, but I didn't know why. I didn't know if it was
all
like the
those, like-
sounds in the background.
Yeah,
It
it
was-
sounds like the buttons being pushed and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. We common stock. We work around the clock. We shove the poles in the holes. We're Smart Patrol. Nowhere to go. Suburban robots that monitor reality. So there's a Smart Patrol, and then there's Mr. DNA.
Mr. DNA.
Look, he's been with the world. I'm tired of the soup du jour.
Yeah, what?
Well, he's kind of swimming in the it's either the the evolutionary soup. You know how
Gosh.
that's how it happened. We were in the soup, and then you had the single cell thing, and then you crawled out of the. That's what they say. I gotta check with Alec, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's you were in the soup and then you crawled out. So you're in the world, but you're tired of the soup du jour. You gotta crawl out of there. Afraid that no one around me understands
No, what's this?
Well, I wanted to talk about the potato.
Okay, go
Because
ahead.
I have no idea what the hell he's talking about. Afraid that no one around me understands my potato. Think I'm only a spud boy looking for a real tomato. Huh? I have no idea. Maybe potato and tomatoes go in soup du jour.
That's what I was wondering. I'm like,
Do
let me
they?
I have no idea. I haven't even.
Let me see.
Soup du jour. I didn't know what that
Isn't
means.
that like some fancy soup from...
I don't know if it's a type of soup or if it's just saying like.
Alright, I'm gonna look at soup du jour. Yeah, I'm pretty sure soup du jour is like some nice French soup. Hopefully it has potatoes and tomatoes in it. Afraid he's been in the world. Da da da. Afraid nobody. Is a soup offered by a restaurant only on a particular day? Ah, I see. So it's like that. The soup of the day is the soup du jour. Okay, so he's saying, I'm tired of the soup du jour. What? Go
Well,
ahead.
the soup du jour would be, like you said, the special. So he's sick of the special.
What do you mean? Oh, okay.
You know, it's like, this is the soup of the day.
It's a
That
one-day
just means
special.
it's the end of the week and
Yeah.
they need to sell that crap. So,
Yeah.
so he's tired of that. No one understands my potato, and then
I think I'm only a spud boy. So,
real tomato.
yeah. I don't know what he means by understanding his potato, other than maybe he's talking about his.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, so it's a pretty interesting way to talk about sexuality and the desire to.
Yeah. Be fruitful and multiply.
Right. It doesn't matter what perspective you take, whether from an evolutionary perspective or from a biblical worldview. Like, where the name of the game is multiplication, fashion. And we're saying the name of the game is multiplication because God wants to fill the planet with image bearers and have a big family.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying, no, you just want to propagate your genes, not for any particular reason, but because that's the name of the game.
Mm-hmm.
He's a man with a plan. His fingers pointed at DEVO. DEVO is the name of the band, so I don't really know how
What DEVO actually
that
means.
works, especially considering I'm assuming it's a concept record, so I don't know particularly what that means.
Yeah, but don't you think fingers is another way of saying the pole thing?
No.
Now we must sacrifice ourselves so others may live. Oh, baby, we got a lot to give.
The monkey wants a word with you. Well, again, I think that that's a sperm.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, you said before that it wasn't.
No. On this part, I think that, the sacrifice that others may live. Okay, yeah, and then he goes into kamikaze. All right, I'll throw it in with you.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Remember that thing that we saw when we first was pregnant with Orion? It was about.
Oh, yeah.
They did like the live. There was like a live action thing about sperm, and like right from the beginning, and they had.
Yeah.
They had them
Wait,
all,
are you talking about the one where it was like...
They were all dressed up in the white
People.
suits, and then they were swimming
Yes.
and all. It was like
People
an obstacle
were.
course. Yeah, it was really, really interesting because you see like everything that a sperm goes through, and they're all gonna die. All of them are gonna die.
And they all fight like hell to get there.
Right. And then it says a monkey wants a word with you. I don't know. I mean, the monkey is.
This monkey wants a word with you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We got a lot to give. And then it just keeps going around. So I don't know what the DEVO reference is, but it is kind of like the idea of
Well, DEVO is all capital, so maybe it's
well, it's the name
like
of the
one
band.
of those. Yeah, I know, but when it's sometimes that means, you know what I mean? Like, what is that called when you have an acronym? Maybe it means something.
Right. Well, I'm Googling DEVO right now to see what DEVO means, but. So what is a smart patrol? See, DEVO is an American rock band from Akron, Ohio. So, I also
Smart Patrol.
I also really enjoyed like the way that he did the vocals. It was just very, very, very playful and fun. You didn't like that, huh?
No, because it sounded too much like the stuff that, you know, we had to listen to when we were kids, you know. If my mom
Really?
put on music, it was always this weird kid-sounding Christian music, you know. I mean, as a kid, I liked it, but not as an adult. Now I just feel weird. I'm like, yeah, I didn't like what it sounded like.
Wait a minute, something's wrong. He's a man with a plan. He's here to do us a favor, a little human sacrifice. It's just supply and demand. What in the world is that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Then in verse 2 it says, "Wait a minute, something's wrong. He's a man with a plan. His fingers pointed at DEVO. Now we must sacrifice ourselves so others may live." Mm-hmm. So in verse 1, I'm assuming this is DEVO. He's going to sacrifice himself, the person. But then later on in verse 2, they're like, "No, we must sacrifice ourselves." So they're not going to let DEVO sacrifice himself, as they're going to sacrifice themselves so that others may live, I guess.
Yeah, what is that? What do you mean?
I really don't know. I couldn't tell you. Like, there's a lot of things about this song that I don't understand because it's very repetitive, but I'm assuming it's repetitive for a reason. Mm-hmm. But I also, because I think there's a context to the song, right? Afraid nobody around here understands my potato. I love that line. I don't know why I love that line so much. Go ahead.
Scroll up a little bit. There was the part where it said that some of them sacrificed so others would live. That part.
Right.
Where?
Oh, baby, we got a lot to give.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we must sacrifice ourselves so others may live. Oh, baby, we got a lot to give. I think that when I don't know if this is it, but when the sperm is released, remember, like, there was like different parts where, like, it was almost like, you know, like when you're doing one of those mazes on paper,
yeah,
and there's like all these fake routes, but then there's an actual real route that actually gets you out of the maze. Like, some of them go down there, and I thought they kind of like take up that area, so then the other ones don't go down there because they see that. You know what I mean? So maybe that's what he's saying. I don't know. It's a strange song.
I really enjoyed like the way that he did the lyrics, like the voice that he had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. I like it when bands don't necessarily take themselves that seriously, while at the same time pulling off a pretty important message. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, this is an important, like, hey, is this the sum total of sexuality? Mm-hmm. Are we just here to spread some genes? Like, is that it? I'm not saying everybody thinks that. I'm just saying that is one thing that we see in the
thing that most people don't think that now, given our current milieu.
It's really strange because we have these sort of, I would assume that if that was really the goal, was the propagation of genes, that we wouldn't have the slut-shaming culture, mm-hmm. You know, where you call a girl a whore or this or that, and many societies function to discourage randomness in sexual activity. Mm-hmm. But it's curious to me why. I'd like to hear the theory as to why we created those social mores if the name of the game was passing genes. Like, shouldn't we celebrate women who are mm-hmm. constantly sleeping around? Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Which I suppose the rebuttal could be, well, we don't celebrate women who do that, but we do celebrate men who do that, which is true. Mm-hmm. At least in Western culture it is.
Yeah.
So I think that's such an interesting idea. Mm-hmm. Like, if everything's about the propagation of genes, why do we create all these societies that militate against it? Mm-hmm. So, anyway, thank you, Matt. Very, very good song. What did you give it? You gave it a 3. A long look. That's terrible. You're a horrible human being.
What do you give it? I'm assuming you're gonna give it a high score.
I give it an
because I
8.
give it a low.
No, I give it an 8.8 because I think this is a sleeper hit. I think they were actually really, really saying something. But I'm not. When I say you, I'm talking about the general you. I think you miss it because it's so playful and kind of funny sounding. See what I'm saying? So because of that, you're gonna end up missing stuff. But I think it's actually pretty good. So it's an 8.8 for me, and I think that's the first 8.8 I've ever given out. So there you are. Shout out to DEVO. Shout out to Matt.
There you have it.
Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.